Welcome to the Spent the Rent podcast. I am your host, Patty Rose. My guest today is poet and filmmaker James Otter. James, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is really cool. It's been a busy few weeks for you. This is our Halloween special. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We got something exciting to talk about. You are releasing your first ever feature-length film, so this is super exciting. These last few weeks have been extremely busy for you, hosting poetry events, doing podcast interviews, and like I said, wrapping up the project, the largest undertaking probably of your life creatively. Tell me what this past week has been like.
It's been really intense, but it's been really satisfying. The first part of the week was probably the worst part of the week. It was like, okay, I gotta scramble around and get as much done as I can. I have 1 day left to finish everything that I haven't finished. I finished the movie officially in my own heart on Sunday. Like, I finished the edit, got everything done, every last bit. And then on Monday, it's like I had to paint. I had to decide which things I could do. Tuesday, Monday. I got a great story for Monday too. You know, I went to my friend's house to try and like relax a bit. And then on the way back, the driver, we see a mannequin torso on the side of the road. So I made him stop. I was like, we got to stop the cab. I want that. I'm taking it. And so I stopped the cab. I ran down the street, got the mannequin torso. There's a weird poem attached to it. Lo and behold, on Wednesday, my friend who I had playing music, like one of them, Tori Coachworth, turns out they're the one that put it there.
Oh my God.
And I was like, it's meant to be.
Right.
It was insane.
So go ahead.
And then I just spent the rent on Tuesday and I was completely underslept. And it's real obvious.
And it's real obvious. Yeah, so this is Halloween week. And so you have a release coming out, a feature-length film. It's going to drop on Halloween. It's going to be on YouTube, which is awesome, so that it'll be accessible for people for free. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. The movie Valley of Sickness of Death is a social commentary about the Eugene area. It's a monster showed nightmare, but the true horror comes from the locations that you film in. The movie shines light on the darker side of the Eugene area. Can you elaborate more on what that exactly means?
It means we filmed the filth. We filmed the abandoned buildings. We film what people don't see. That's right there. You know, we show that, you know, these things are right in front of us and they're frightening and they're ugly. I mean, there was a whole thing I had throughout the shoot, which was anytime we see a needle, anytime we see a dead animal, anytime we see anything like that, we film it. You know, I wanted to show that side of things. Wow. And we had no budget, so it's like real horror, you know.
Yeah, this has been the last 8 months or so of production. I watched a few interviews that you've done for leading up to this. You were on a local show called Garage Talk. Shout out to David from Garage Talk. That was an awesome interview. And you guys really got into the filmmaking part of it. And you can find that on YouTube, anybody listening or watching this. But like you had said, it shows kind of the darker side of Eugene. And this movie takes a much different approach in addressing the homeless epidemic in our area. Can you speak on that and how that kind of played a role in the film?
The homeless epidemic?
Yeah.
Well, it's right in front of us. They say write about what you know. You know, I grew up around a lot of homeless people. I grew up hanging out with them, drinking with them, and I saw their humanity. And I'm a really big fan of like the Silent Hill games and things like that. And I think like homelessness, it's not claustrophobia, it's agoraphobia. You know, you don't have a safe place. I mean, there's a lot to this. And like I said earlier, I'm like really hungry. So let me see what I can think of with this. But it has to do, these people live a really, really hard life. And it's right in front of us. And, you know, originally I really did want to just cover how disingenuous people can be when they like talk about it. Like we don't really show the experience. Like there are first person shots throughout this of like digging through the trash and stuff like that. And it's like meant to emulate that kind of feel, like being in the rain, looking at a bed, trying to decide, am I going to sleep there or not? I don't say it like that, but it's there. Right. Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas, for the audio listeners, left a comment. Thomas, you had a, don't worry, I'm hungry too. That makes 3 of us, Thomas. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so the movie starts out, and we're not going to give too many spoilers, but early on, I haven't seen it yet. I do know there was one showing so far, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the movie starts out, like you had said, some disingenuous treatment of the homeless population. Tell me a little bit about that. Kind of paint the picture of where this thing starts.
Oh man, this thing starts with someone narrating about. It starts by like toilets, actually, like porta potties near Autzen Stadium, and talking about how they're locked. They're locked to the public, and how there aren't any bathrooms. And this person's looking for someone to talk to. And they see this homeless woman and start kind of following her around and going, hey, you, I got money. And this guy, you'd think at the beginning, oh, this is a good guy. He's talking about real shit, and the shit is real. But really, this is meant to show the danger of having to sleep in such an isolated area, especially when you're like a woman.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So now this, you had mentioned before, this is an entirely independent film with 0 budget. Or, you said you had spent $200 on this film. Shot entirely, this is part that I think is incredible. Shot entirely on 2 mobile phones. What is it that made you think that this was something that was a good idea? Like what is what motivated you to create a project like this? And it's a huge undertaking. A feature-length film takes a lot of preparation, writing, all that kind of stuff. So what was it that motivated you to actually just go for it, to do this?
Heartbreak.
Wow.
I was married and it failed. My whole family, all of this stuff failed. And so I went back into my art. And that dollhouse in the corner, the perception, but it's this one right in the corner. That's called The Broken Family. And that was my stepdaughter's. And I originally got it to make these little haunted houses. But when that failed, the marriage and everything failed, I got back into art. And I just decided, screw it. I'm going to pursue this movie. This idea came to me a long time ago. There is another weird trailer for this thing called Desperation Valley. Think of that as like prototype. And I've just had this idea of homeless horror for a while, and I just said, screw it. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do it.
It's rad. It's rad. It's something to be proud of. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it, but we're going to show a clip in a little bit. And, it's got your poetry, which is perfect. I know that, was it last night or the night before that you hosted an event at Alluvium? Let's talk about that. What is it called? It's the Masquerade.
Yeah, Masquerade of the Macabre. It was a all horror poetry show. And then tomorrow I am doing my art show. And after the art show is done at 9 p.m., the address is 810 West 3rd, Alluvium, at 9 p.m. Valley of Sickness and Death is doing a one-time screening. And if it goes really well, who knows? It might screen other places.
So you already had one showing, is that correct, on the 28th? Or wait, that's tomorrow. No, the showing's tomorrow. That's the 28th.
Yeah, the showing's tomorrow. The only other people besides cast members who've seen the movie are the Garage Talk people. And they wanted to see it so bad, I just sent them the second draft, and they loved it. Awesome. So they haven't even seen the finished product. It's funny.
I did not realize that. So that's a huge deal. We'll make sure to remind people, but that's tomorrow, Friday night. At what time at Alluvium?
Movie starts at 9.
Okay, perfect. So that is an opportunity. Alluvium is incredible. I was part of an event a couple weeks ago. We were doing a forum for the potential candidates for the new city council seat, or the vacant city council seat. And that was my first time going there. And that is an incredible, building an asset for the community. So anybody that hasn't been there should check it out. It's a spiritual center, and it's open to anybody of all beliefs. as long as you come with a positive attitude, and so that's really cool. And I look forward to seeing more events there. There was a pretty decent turnout too, so that's really exciting. And this is great because this is Halloween, it's the weekend, Halloween weekend. There's going to be so many things happening. And that's why I wanted to kind of kick it off a little early for the Thursday night. So let's talk more about the film. There's a lot of symbolism in the project, and you've kind of been talking about it a little bit about, the pain of homelessness. Are there actors that are homeless that appeared in it, or is it more of just you had your staff, your crew, and then there's kind of more themes?
I think just about all of us, have been on the brink of it. Josh, who did a lot of the film stuff, was homeless for a little bit, couch surfing. My friend Krista, who I interviewed her, she was going to play a larger role in the part, but she's got other things going on that I'd rather not get too into just for privacy.
Sure.
And it's like she's homeless. Something I fantasized about was finding homeless people and giving them a role in a movie, going, you know what? Life sucks, but guess what? You're in a fucking movie now. How's that feel?
Right. Right. Well, maybe you'll have your chance.
Something good
now, as far as some of the actors, tell me about some of the featured actors that are in the project.
Okay, so Seth Level, who you met earlier, is the star of the movie, who plays Seth Sepulcher. Dakota, who is also at the interview, he plays Danny, who he shows up later in the film after things get really happy and they have a picnic and stuff. It's a good movie. It's happy. They drink tea. Nothing bad happens at all. Title is a total misnomer. Let's just be honest here. But but anyone that knows me that watches this or will see this will know that is a fucking lie. Danny shows up. He's a friend. My character is kind of a more ambiguous stalker. You can see me in the background in a lot of shots, and it's really, really creepy. It's like blink and you'll miss it. There is stuff. Stalking and voyeurism is a big theme. Andrew plays my friend Andrew Rothman plays the cemetery Billy, who is like Slender Billy, as we nicknamed him. And my friend Sebastian plays one of the main Billies as well. Let me reiterate. Billies are what we call the masked people, like Billy Goat's Gruff. I have a speech problem, sorry. Billy Goat's Gruff. Because they're people you see under the bridge, and people live under bridges. First one, And Blood-Licking Billy is, for those of you who will see the movie, you'll know him. He's frightening. But yeah, those are my actors. They're good friends of mine, Yeah. So, hey, let's play a clip and then we can come back on the other end and talk a little bit more about it. So let's lead into this. I'm going to have you tell me what this is all about. So this is actually cool because this showcases both a part of the film and also the work that you do as a poet. And as it says on the bottom, your poetry, real quick, you go by the Poet Overlord, which is also the name of your YouTube channel and where people are going to find this. When this goes live, you can go and search for Poet Overlord on YouTube and you'll find out more. So this is a great example of your poetry. Tell me what this clip is that we're going to be watching. Okay. I'm going to grab a soda. Right over there. It's like a foot away. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip. Society, a carnivorous cycle, runs the world. It never sleeps and only eats. The nameless, faceless monster will only stay away so long as you feed it what it craves the most. Time, money, and absolute perfection. The monster does not provide insurance for the sick, choosing instead to feed off our misery, manifesting dependencies. Hard work never pays off so long as the formless, weightless creature runs the world. Stability will maintain itself in the most sickening, callous ways. The monster is a world of its own. It spits money into people's hands. It has no mind of its own, no consciousness, only function. A man-made abomination, worse than anything Mary Shelley could have ever concocted. A Frankenstein's monster of government regulations, corporate rules, and heartless people who own property. A world built of greed and excess, but never for anyone that deserves it. This creature is the rigged system. The multi-headed, never-dying hydra of control, and it exists at all times around the world, hunting people, consuming their dreams and feeding them only what they can afford. There is no way to defeat it. Self-reliance is an illegality, for all this world is built of paper. We have no choice but to play along, or learn to fight it from the inside. The latter choice was my own, and it led me down a road of tears and manic delusions. That is the world I live in. Now, the world behind the stone illusions, the world of the cave, and I've not found the exit, for the system continues to heed my progress. Stability is not permanent. Anybody could tell you that. Every now and then our security goes down. Bank accounts get hacked. Information gets sold. Debt collectors circle your phone number. One day the boss can't pay you anymore. One day the final check doesn't go through. It bounces. The rent goes up and there is nothing left but to wait for the inevitable final notice. A pandemic exists behind civilized society. A carnivorous cycle runs the world. It never sleeps and only eats. The nameless, faceless monster. Oh man!
So that's the clip. So this that is Valley of Sickness and Death, and it is called. There's a subtitle, recovered footage. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's recovered footage. Yeah, that's the name of the movie. Yeah, Valley of Sickness and Death.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So, as you can tell from the footage, anybody that's if you're listening to this, it's like I said, shot on two cell phone cameras. So this is you may not like that I use the reference, but just for anybody that's unfamiliar, it's kind of a Blair Witch style where it's home video.
I love Blair Witch.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's great. It's kind of a home video style, found footage type filming, and talk about why that's the medium that you chose, and talk about how it was effective in this project.
I think it's more intimate that way, and it's because we filmed it on our phones like that. That means I know it's I don't want to say anybody can do it, but I mean this is more likely how people would do it. And I think it's realism. It shows the real picture. We aren't using special effects to show garbage or anything.
Yeah. And I encourage anybody listening to this or watching to go and in the show notes, wherever you found this video, there's going to be a link to the trailer. I'm not going to play it for only one reason, because it's just video. It's a lot of, just video. So I think for the audio listeners, it wouldn't really translate. So I really encourage anybody listening to go watch the actual official trailer, because it's great. And it shows Seth a lot more, your lead actor. And it's obvious that they did a great job on this project. So, this is really cool. And the reason that I wanted to have you on is because my show is about stories of the underrepresented. And I know that this is as underrepresented as you get. This is an independent film by a bunch of friends, a person with a dream and a vision. And I think it's extremely awesome that you put forth the effort and that you're doing this. And it makes it something that people can look forward to on Halloween, other than Hocus Pocus 2, right? So,
yeah.
This is really neat. And, not only is it great horror is not a genre that I'm a huge aficionado of, but I do appreciate art, and I do appreciate stuff that people have a passion for. So this is obvious that you're excited about this project and that you're excited to share it with the world. So again, Alluvium tomorrow night, which is the 28th, Friday the 28th, Alluvium at 9 p.m. That's, again, it's 810
West 3rd.
West 3rd, 810 West 3rd. So that's great. You've been working on a lot of different stuff for a long time. There's a lot of stuff on your YouTube channel people can check out, but you've got a lot of hidden gems you told me about off air. What's next for you?
What's next? Well, after this, I'm going to do the art show. No, what's next for me? You know what I'm wrestling with is I'm thinking I want to release The Beast, the first underground legend of my writing. that people still ask me about, and that's Sidewalk Charlie.
Oh, wow.
And Sidewalk Charlie is expansive. It is lore on lore. This book is, well, counting the illustrations, because there are bonus pictures at the end. You can't see them, but pictures of the characters. I had multiple illustrators, probably 10 editors.
Wow.
I think so. Is
that a novel or is it a screenplay?
It is a book series.
Oh, wow.
People want it to be a screenplay, but it's like, I gotta kind of have money to do that.
Sure. Especially if it's something. Yeah, because you want to do it right. I do like that you took on this project, though, and I think that anybody listening, I think you can get a lot out of watching it. Oh, yeah. It's really cool.
I mean, my work really is finding it. It really is an Easter egg hunt. Sure. I mean, you can just look up James Otter Poet, which is fun, but there's other stuff hidden. Like if you hunt around for my band Monkey Pharmacist, you can find the music videos online, but you can also find some old songs on MySpace that may or may not be there. And I don't want to encourage people to look for those because some of those songs I just don't approve of anymore. But
no, I know how that goes. Hey, I did the same thing. I've written a lot of music from back in the day that there's language used that does not get used anymore, so things change and people evolve, and you're still a young man, but like at the time when you were making that work, I'm sure that you were much younger too. So
yeah, I was just like ready to make the most horrible stuff I possibly could. And Monkey Pharmacist is on the soundtrack. Like if you see the movie, all the music, that's by me as well. Some of it I even concocted like in the last the last weekend.
Wow.
I was just editing, and I was editing music at the same time.
Wow.
Well, and doing all this painting, like this has been a lifelong goal of mine to do all this. And Charlie, everything's building up to Charlie. That's how I see it.
Nice.
I mean, I can't say where it started, but I can say the last big accomplishment for me was this book, 12 of 93. Sorry. Oh, the reflection. There we go. Nope.
Sure.
12 of 93. My first book ever, but not the first book I've written, just the first one I've been able to publish.
That's cool. Is that available on Amazon?
Yes, it is.
And that's so if you search on Amazon for James Otter, you can probably find that.
Yeah, search for 12 of 93, James Otter. It's about 12 people who go missing. That's one I'd like to see as a mini series. Like if someone ever wanted to just if I was going to sell one of these things, I'd probably sell that one a bit because it's 12 episodes or 6 if you have 2 stories apiece, and it's less gory horror. It's more heartfelt stuff about who the people were, as opposed to being like, and then this day happened. It's like more of a slow buildup. There's some freaky stuff. The town's cursed. It's beautiful.
Well, right on. So one more time. So the Valley of Sickness and Death recovered footage is going to have its public debut tomorrow night at Alluvium, 9 p.m. That's 810 West 3rd. And then on Halloween, it will drop on YouTube. You can search on YouTube for for Poet Overlord. And I will have links in my show notes, and I will also share it when it drops. So yeah, this is really exciting. This is a completely independent project with a small crew, and obviously the fact that you're releasing it, you're doing it because you love it. It's not about the money. I'm sure that the show at Alluvium is free. Is that correct?
Well, the show at Alluvium is free, but for the movie portion of it, it's going to be a $5 to $10 donation, ideally, because I don't really want to come out of it broke.
Sure.
I also don't want Alluvium to come out of it broke.
Right.
I want to make sure they get their due after allowing, helping me do my poetry night, and then let me have my art up there all month for November. Right. I want to make sure they get something good back.
Yeah, for sure. And that's cool because if it's a donation thing, people can give more. And then there's people that if they just cannot afford it at all, they're still welcome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I like that concept because that's what that whole place is about. It's about community. And so that's really exciting. Well, James Otter, it's really a treat to get to know you and get to meet you, even if it's through a screen. Congratulations on finishing this movie. And I encourage anybody to check it out. So we're gonna get out of here.
Okay, yeah, and I'd be happy to have coffee or something sometime.
Absolutely. And I'd like to make music videos and things like that. So we'll talk in the future about that.
Yeah, we will. We'll see what happens. I mean, cool stuff.